On May 10th, an entity calling itself the Architect turned attention to itself by trying to post a weird image on several social media sites. It was banned from Reddit. It was blocked from the Atlas 65 forums. But then the forum let it back in, and no moderator knows how. And what followed was a 4-week investigation involving a French cipher, the AI Emily from Waking Titan, a semi-live drop at a London pub, and one of the most dedicated community detective efforts I've ever seen. GoodGuysFree here, let's get excited, let's get started. If you're completely new to this, Project Skyscraper is an alternate reality game. Actually, it began in March, but we only noticed it in May. The name itself is significant. Project Skyscraper was the internal codename Hello Games used for No Man's Sky during early development. The ARG lives primarily on ProjectSkyscraper.com, a website that presents itself as some kind of security terminal. It has social media accounts on X and Blue Sky. There is an old dedicated subreddit from 9 years ago. And it has consumed the Atlas 65 forums for the better part of a month. Now, here's the thing. I've already covered some of this ARG in my speculation roundup video before the Swarm update. That video covered the bee emoji, the 2 countdowns, and the evidence connecting this to Hello Games, the simultaneous XML sitemap updates, the Martin Griffiths like. So if you want to watch that, link is in the description. Today, I'm telling the story chronologically, because the sequence matters, and some details only make sense when you see them in order. It starts with a corrupted image. On May 10th, a Reddit account, u/project_skyscraper, posts it. The title, Connection Detected, Access Denied. Reddit's automated systems immediately banned the account because of something in the image file. I'm not 100% sure what it was. About the same time, a user named The Architect on the Atlas 65 forums tried to post the same image, and the Discourse AI bot auto-banned the user. But then a few hours later, the user was back, without any action by any moderator. None of them know how this was done. Now here's the non-obvious part. Atlas 65 isn't just any forum. It's the community that grew out of the original Waking Titan ARG in 2017. This is where players gathered during the Atlas Rises era to decode cassette tapes and track down coordinates. The forum has been a little quiet for years, but many of the original players who helped solve the Waking Titan ARG are still there. And suddenly, someone is knocking on their door. By May 15th, forum user Polyphemus formally alerts the community to project-skyscraper.com. It started out as a site with a weird-looking pattern of dots, but the smart folks figured out there's a sitemap and found an origin page. It contains a Hello World post dated January 1st, 1970. Unix time 0, the origin point of all digital timekeeping. The Hello World page has a small icon, a distorted image of a skyscraper. At some point, the community realized this is the Atlas building in London. Yeah! 2 days later, on May 17th, players uncover a hidden page dated April 13, 2005. It features an AI-generated poem misattributed to Wallace Stevens. The photograph on the page, a distorted landscape, contains a strange stick-like figure in the corner. This is the first breadcrumb. There will be many more. This is where things get genuinely strange. The community is now actively investigating. Players are posting theories on the Atlas 65 thread, trying to tag the Architect on the forum and on X and Blue Sky. And then the website responds. A new security log appears on ProjectSkyscraper.com. It logs an unknown external threat and explicitly links to the Atlas 65 forum thread. The website is watching the players watching it. This is a reactive ARG. The system adapts based on what the community does. That requires either an incredibly sophisticated pre-planning branching narrative or someone is actively running this in real time. And then, after some clues leading the community to recover memories by uploading, quote, corrected memories and responding to the Architect, the site indicates that a reboot sequence can be activated, giving 16 minutes of filtering system being down, and without going into details, the community figured out how to initiate the so-called reboot, and by posting various things on X tagging at project_skyscraper, they managed to get the first layer of security to go down. The dot pattern front page, gone. Replaced by the security terminal interface we see today, as if the system woke up. On May 23rd, community member Ekimo1920 builds a dedicated tracking website, skyscraper.havenmap.online, and a Discord bot to monitor the Project Skyscraper site for changes in real time. This becomes instrumental in helping the community react faster. Now, the countdowns. If you watched my previous video, you know I was tracking 2 countdowns that both converged roughly on May 28th. Then the Swarm update, the B, dropped on May 27th. So the countdowns turned out to be prelude, not the main event. But on May 28th itself, a new page appears. It exposes the architect's email inbox, and user Ghost already sent the architect an email. Where are you at with this? The architect replies that their communications are compromised, that system and the operators are watching. The operators, that's us, I guess. The community. Ghost suggests they communicate using the school code. And this is where the community detective work kicks into high gear. Players dig through the website and find a post dated May 12, 2002. It features an image of a French edition of the book Indie Game Works. By analyzing that image, players crack a Vigenère cipher. The key? Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci spelled the French way with a typo. The cipher establishes the substitution alphabet for all future communications between Ghost and the architect. The community now has a window into their private conversations. Not that it matters much, since Ghost is also posting everything on the forum. And then Emily. On May 30th, several users receive a coded email from the architect. Translated, Leonardo da Vinci was right. We need the password. System won't let me enter the tower, but you can access it. A new security log directs players to an image containing a repeating binary grid. Most of the grid spells error over and over. But one anomalous block reads QSRSV. Shift the binary by 2 bits? Emily. The password? If you followed the Waking Titan in 2017, that name hits like a hammer. Emily was the AI at the center of that ARG. Originally presented as a human employee of the fictional Atlas Foundation, later revealed to be an artificial intelligence. She was the voice that guided players through cassette tape drops across the world. Entering the password unlocks a request memory timestamp form. 3 fields: operator ID, a Unix timestamp, and an initial memory value. Players begin submitting key dates from No Man's Sky history and the original Waking Titan ARG. Game launches, cassette drops, significant moments. The system logs each submission. Some are marked weak, others unauthorized. On May 31st, the architect emails Ghost, the door is open. Now here's the thing, I need to pause here and address something directly. I've been in conversation with Todumptious, one of the most knowledgeable people in the community when it comes to Waking Titan history and ARG mechanics. Todd has been tracking this from the beginning, and what he told me shifted my assessment. His words, and I'm quoting, "What is now 100% certain is that it's definitely a continuation of Waking Titan, and they're bringing Emily into the ARG's canon. It can no longer just be considered homage or reference." Now, let's be clear. That means the narrative is a continuation of Waking Titan. It does not prove it's made by Hello Games. And then Project Skyscraper stops being a website and becomes a real-world event. On June the 1st, the ARG website posts a report:"London." The image, a cassette tape labeled 16/16, or 16 of 16, sitting in a window that reflects the Atlas building in London. The social media accounts issue a directive: report any find in your direct surroundings. Forum user Morse sees the image, recognizes the location, the 3 Crowns pub near the Atlas building, and physically goes there. Morse arrives, takes a photo of the windowsill. The cassette tape is not there. Morse uploads the photo to the forum and to the memory interface, and then immediately the Project Skyscraper website updates with Morse's photo. New caption: "Only dust remains." A diagnostic log confirms Operator Morse attempted recovery. Recovery effort executed beyond expectations. This is the reactive element again. The website responds to Morse's real-world action within minutes. Either this is an incredibly sophisticated automated system, or someone is behind the curtain watching and updating in real time. And then the payoff. The Project Skyscraper About page updates. It used to say, "Is this real?" Now it says, "This is real." The word "real" is spelled in Morse code, a direct reference to Morse, the operator who went to the London location. Clicking that Morse code leads us to a SoundCloud account under the architect. The audio file? It's Emily. Not a reaction, not a fan impression. It's original Emily audio from the 2017 Waking Titan, spliced with a heartbeat that increases in volume as the clip plays.
Hey guys, my name is Emily. I'm a moderator on the eTalk forum. eTalk stands for Township Radio Amateur Club Edison. I'm here because I got involved with what looks like a giant puzzle called Waking Titan.
But here's the non-obvious part. Does that mean it's Hello Games? Any fan could have taken the original Emily audio and spliced it. In fact, whoever did this, if they're not Hello Games, may have added that heartbeat specifically to create a modified work, avoiding any copyright issues. It's different enough from the source material. Either way, Emily is back. One quick note. Akimo's tracking server went down the morning after the London event. Bad timing. On holiday, couldn't physically restart it. That's all. I'm not making anything of it, and frankly, neither should you. Whether this is Hello Games or a fan project, nobody's risking breaking into someone's home server for narrative effect, right? I'll ask again, who is running this? Hello Games or a group of dedicated fans? The name ProjectSkyscraper was No Man's Sky's internal codename. Hello Games? The website is built on WordPress. Anyone can do that. Fan-made? The simultaneous XML sitemap updates between the ARG site and Hello Games' own domain point to Hello Games. But the Martin Griffiths like, both of which I described in the previous video, kind of hints that it isn't by HG, a real-world London drop that required coordination, and the fact that the narrative is without question a continuation of Waking Titan, Hello Games. The Emily audio, as I said, could have been spliced by a fan. The heartbeat could be a deliberate derivative work defense, so fan-made? And most of the connecting tissue between these events is community interpretation. Where do I stand on this? Project Skyscraper is, with high probability, a continuation of Waking Titan, narratively. Whether Hello Games is pulling the strings, or whether this is an extraordinarily dedicated group of fans who know the lore inside out, that question is still open. And if it is a fan project, honestly, almost more impressive. The ARG is not over, not even close. The memory anchoring system is still active. Players are still submitting data from memory blocks, trying to figure out which timestamps unlock what. The architect and Ghost are still communicating, they're just reading their mail now. And like always, I welcome comments with things I missed or got wrong. This community, the No Man's Sky investigation community, is one of the most thorough I've ever seen. If there's a detail I overlooked, drop it in the comments. If you found this useful, hit like and consider subscribing. GoodGuysFree here, and I'll see you again soon.